dedicated to the PD. I ain't doing this shit for TV, and I ain't doing it for publicity. I'ma speak my piece and I'ma speak my mind. Look at what you did to Diallo. Thought it was tough for to swallow. You did it to Sean Bell, you did it to Eric. I look in the mirror like it could be me next. Now I ain't running, I ain't gunning, cause I got a million goons on deck. Yes, and there's one thing I know for sure, the karma's a bitch, yeah.
All cops are not bad. Right. We understand that. They're supposed to be hired to protect and serve the community. There should be no murdering just because.
What's the point of debating it? What's the point of saying anything? What's the point of taking a stand? What's the point of anybody voicing their opinion if everybody's gonna think nothing's gonna make a change?
Alright, we can voice our opinions till our tongues fall out. We can voice our opinions till Jesus come back. But if we don't take a stand to do something about it, like no one's coming up with a creative way of combating police brutality, because how will you be?
They did it to Frank, they did it to Steve, they did it to King, they did it to Sean. Now they did Big E, and yo, the list goes on. The PD been fucking my people up for way too long. They supposed to protect the servers, but our servers is our murderers. They trigger happy, they clapping and rolling with they burners up. Who gave these low self-esteem cats badges? License to kill every brother that he passes. And they getting off and getting charged with the crime. That's the shit that blow my mind. I'ma tell you this one more time. A system can't fail those it wasn't built to protect. So your best bet, protect your neck, cause they exterminators and they...
Hello and welcome to this edition of Heads Up America. Today we look at police overreach and brutality. Is it a byproduct of institutionalized racism, deliberate indifference, or just a complete and total disregard for civil and human rights by police and officials? Here in America for over 3 centuries, the gun barrel of segregation, racism, social economic oppression, and judicial injustice have been leveled at the Black America and other minorities. This has been deliberate and obvious. The dissatisfaction, to say the least, with our criminal justice system and police accountability has been ongoing for decades, from chattel slavery to the civil rights movements of the 50s and 60s. In the 90s, 16 years ago, March of 1991, Rodney King, an American construction worker, became nationally known after being beaten by Los Angeles police officers, inflaming outrage in cities where racial tensions were high and raising public concern about police treatment of minorities. 4 officers were charged with assault with a deadly weapon and use of excessive force. Though all 4 officers took part in the beating, only 3 were acquitted of all charges. 8 years later, the shooting of unarmed 23-year-old Amadou Diallo occurred on February 4, 1999, killed by 4 New York City plainclothes officers who fired a combination of 41 shots. The 4 officers were part of a now defunct street crimes unit. All 4 officers were charged with second-degree murder and acquitted. Today, in 2014, the trend continues. Across our nation, reports of police brutality and homicide are growing. What is the cause of this? Could it be the blue wall culture within the police department? Or is it the remnants of the Jim Crow system of justice, which has yet to be fully dismantled? A system which supports police misconduct and spawns monsters who feel they have the right to kill and are somehow immune to the laws that bind the rest of America. Recently, the killing of American youth and adults who were reportedly unarmed begs the questions. Is there a war on Black American males? 2. Are we now living in a police state? 3. Are we heading for mass civil unrest due to what seems to be a shoot first, ask questions later police culture? Ferguson, Missouri, 18-year-old Michael Brown, unarmed young man, is shot down by police. Officers responsible? Not guilty. August 23, 2014, Ottawa, Kansas. 18-year-old Joseph Jennings, unarmed, gunned down by police. The young man was suffering from anxiety and depression and was shot 16 times by Ottawa police. Is anxiety and depression reason to die? The officers that were responsible, not guilty. June 7, 2011, Cook County, Chicago. Flint farmer, unarmed man gunned down by police. The officer fired, after getting him on the ground, fired 3 shots into his back as he lay face down on the ground, motionless. How do you shoot a man that's face down on the ground? What's the purpose of that? September 2014, Springfield, Virginia. John Greer was shot at point blank range by a Fairfax County police officer a year ago, killing him. He had no hostages, brandished no weapons, and so far as we know, posed no serious threat to either the police or the public order. Again, the officers were not held accountable. November 22nd, 2014, Cleveland, Ohio. 12-year-old Tamara Rice was shot and killed by police, despite dispatchers being told that the gun that he was playing with was fake and that he was the child. August 4th, 2014, CNN reports police gunned down John Crawford, 22 years old, in a Walmart in Beaver Creek, Ohio, while talking on his phone in the pet aisle and casually holding a pellet gun that he had picked up from a shelf in the store. Once again this year, Andy Lopez, 13, shot and killed by Santa Rosa police. It took no more than 10 seconds for them to open fire after seeing him with what turned out to be a toy pellet rifle. Now, July 17th, the latest addition to this police hit list, Eric Garner, choked to death by New York City police officers. The videotape and a medical examiner's report showed proof that Mr. Garner was murdered by the police officer. However, it was not sufficient evidence to indict by a grand jury.
Trying to lock somebody up for breaking up a fight.
Everybody standing here, they told you I didn't do nothing. I did not sell nothing. Because every time you see me, you want to harass me, you want to stop me, you want to sell cigarettes. I'm minding my business, officer. I'm minding my business. Please just leave me alone. I told you the last time, please just leave me alone. Please, don't touch me. Don't touch me, please.
Hold on.
Listen, don't touch me, please. Do not touch me. Damn, man. Put your hand behind you.
America, how does this happen? I know people who have been indicted for far less evidence. Was the grand jury rigged? Talk about your one-sided due process. I think rapper, actor Ice-T said it best when he said, "My stomach is twisted over this thing." We all kind of witnessed a snuff film on television when you saw that video. And then you come back and say no crime has been committed? This is an insult and a slap in the face for not only the families of those who grieve for their lost ones, but also the American public. There is a trend of abuse, murder, and misuse of authority, and failure of police departments, court systems, and government to hold the police officers responsible for their tragic misconduct accountable.
This is not just about Mike Brown.
And we also understand that unless we go to the street, nothing is going to happen.
The officer that did the shooting was allowed to go home, wash the blood off his hands, and put his gun in the evidence bag. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, you can't obstruct justice any more than that.
There's a blue wall of silence on the inside that says these things are okay, and when they do happen, we expect for that institution to back us up, even when we know we're wrong or we know other officers are wrong.
We will not stand for any more of our children being killed by the police. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
very comfortable. And maybe I can get a better understanding of the significance of this from somebody else's viewpoint.
We need to make sure, like Esther in the book of Esther, just because you're in the palace doesn't excuse you to be concerned and compassionate about those who are suffering. You know, it's our opportunity and our obligation.
What's your name, by the way?
Porter R. Hamilton.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I mean, this is an important message. It's a message that says we believe we are connected, not just by race, but in the human race.
Okay, thank you. That's the point I was trying to make in the video that I'm doing. That it's not a black or a white thing, really, even though media will have you believe that this is what it's about, a black or white thing. But in reality, it's a human thing. It's a wrong and a right thing. It's about a moral issue and so forth.
Absolutely. Whether it's the Holocaust or slavery, it's the same message.
Exactly. All right.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. That is the chant. That is the chant. I can't breathe. People across America have had enough, and now they are speaking out.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
This is dedicated to the PD. I ain't doing this shit for TV, and I ain't doing it for publicity. I'ma speak my piece and I'ma speak my mind. Look at what you did to Diallo. Thought it was a tough pill to swallow. You did it to Sean Bell, you did it to Eric. I look in the mirror like it could be me next. Now I ain't running, I ain't gunning, cause I got a million goons on deck. Yes, and there's one thing I know for sure, the karma's a bit
Right. We understand that. They're supposed to be hired to protect and serve the community. There should be no murdering just because.
What's the point of debating it? What's the point of saying anything? What's the point of taking a stand? What's the point of anybody voicing their opinion if everybody's gonna think nothing's gonna make a change?
Alright, we can voice our opinions till our tongues fall out. We can voice our opinions till Jesus come back. But if we don't take a stand to do something about it, like no one's coming up with a creative way of combating police brutality, because how will you be?
They did it to Frank, they did it to Steve, they did it to King, they did it to Sean. Now they did Big E, and yo, the list goes on. The PD been fucking my people up for way too long. They supposed to protect the servers, but our servers is our murderers. They trigger happy, they clapping and rolling with they burners up. Who gave these low self-esteem cats badges? License to kill every brother that he passes. And they getting off and getting charged with the crime. That's the shit that blow my mind. I'ma tell you this one more time. A system can't fail those it wasn't built to protect. So your best bet, protect your neck, cause they exterminators and they was sent to the hood to take us and beat us until we no longer breathing because they hate us and they fear us. They gotta suit up, get that gun to be tough. It's those ignorant cops that's punks, yeah.